First off, a huge thanks and shout out to Brian Mohr of Mohr's Motor Cars in Spencer, Indiana for his hospitality and allowing me to film and drive this awesome Alfa Romeo 164. Be sure to check out his website or visit him the next time you're in Spencer. Did you know that Alfa in Alfa Romeo is actually an acronym? Yup. Alfa stands for Anonima Lombarda Fabbrica Automobili, or Anonymous Lombardy Automobile Factory, as it was a private company located in the Lombardy region of Milan, Italy. The Alfa Romeo 164. I'm not really sure where to start with this one. It's been a dream of mine to review one, but they just don't exist in the States. A literal needle in the haystack. The last time I saw one, no kidding, was in the spring of 1994. We were living in Oklahoma and having a garage sale of all things, and I saw one of my Hot Wheels playsets get sold and drive off in the distance in the trunk of a gray metallic Alfa Romeo 164. I distinctly remember the shape and style of that car and have not seen one since, until now, and I get to review it. The Alfa Romeo 164 production ran from 1987 to 1998 and set on the Type 4 or Tipo Quattro front-wheel drive platform. This platform was shared across several marques, with the 164 joining the Fiat Croma, Lancia Thema, and the Saab 9000. While these four cars shared the same platform, the Alfa 164 was the only one that shared nothing else in common. The 164 started life in 1981 as Project 156 under the complete Alfa Romeo control. Then, in 1982, the project transferred to the Type 4 platform. The 164 was styled by Enrico Fiumia of Pininfarina and featured an impressive 0.30 drag coefficient. Ultimately unveiled at the 1987 Frankfurt Motor Show, the 164 was the last model to be developed while Alfa Romeo was still fully independent. It was formally launched a few months after the Fiat takeover, and interestingly, the Alfa Romeo 164 was renamed the 168 for the Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Malaysian markets due to the negative connotation of the number 164, which means all the way to death. Very grim indeed. Instead, 168 is more positive, which means all the way to prosperity. Our 164 was produced at the now defunct and abandoned Alfa Romeo Arista plant in Milan in September of 1990. Hello everyone. In today's latest installment of the in-depth review series, we are taking a look at one of my dream cars. It's a car I've been wanting to film for a long time, and that is the Alfa Romeo 164. And what we are looking at today is a bright white 1991 Alfa Romeo 164L. It is one of three trim designations. We had the base, the L, and the S. On this car, it is the bright white exterior paint, and it does have that dark graphite lower two-tone body cladding. The interior of this car is black and beige leather. Full pricing is shown on screen, and a full options list is in the description box below, so make sure you check that out. That is the price on screen of when this car was brand new. Today's review is going to be a fully in-depth review. We're going to cover everything from the exterior to the interior, powertrain, fuel economy, and everything else in between. The 164 is front-wheel drive with power coming from the legendary and absolutely gorgeous 3-liter Busso single overhead cam 12-valve V6 engine. Easily identified by the highly polished tubular intake runners, this naturally aspirated engine is constructed from cast aluminum for the block and heads and features sodium-filled valves. It utilizes the Bosch Motronic 4.1 electronic multi-point fuel injection system and has a compression ratio of 9.5 to 1. The S and QV variants up the compression to 10.0 to 1 for more power. Our engine creates 183 horsepower at 5,800 RPM and 185 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM. This review subject can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 9.2 seconds, with 0 to 100 miles per hour coming in at 24.3 seconds. The quarter mile can be reached in 16.8 seconds at 84 miles per hour, and Alfa Romeo states in the brochure that the top speed of 140 miles per hour can be reached without turbocharging or other gadgetry. The Alfa Romeo 164 is equipped with a 17.2 US gallon fuel capacity, and it consumes 5.6 gallons per 100 miles driven, with an estimated total driving range of around 310 miles. EPA fuel economy figures are 15 miles per gallon in the city, 23 miles per gallon on the highway, and a combined average of 18 miles per gallon. While an amazing dual-rod actuated 5-speed manual transmission was standard, the buyer, when new for this car, decided to opt for the much more staid and reserved $685 optional 4-speed automatic. This automatic unit is a ZF 4HP18Q unit and features manual shift capabilities and sports a 3.846 to 1 final drive ratio. There are no driver selectable drive modes on this car. Alright, now as we walk along the rear of the vehicle, as I do in all my videos, I want to cover in depth. But just taking a look at this rear end styling, it is absolutely stunning. Very exotic looking. Very heavily chiseled with a thin red light bar in the rear. I just absolutely love the design language of this car. Alrighty, around the rear of the 164, it is a very striking, very edge design back here. Very angular, sharp corners. I really like the chiseled look to it. The flat light bar blade back here. One other thing I do like is the almost flush mounted door handles that run along that sharp body crease, front and rear. That does aid in aerodynamics. That entire chiseled line runs all the way from the front to the back of the car, meeting up with the tail lights. Of course, it's all red back here, all incandescent. You have the 164L for the luxury moniker. Brake lights, tail lights, and turn indicators. Rear fog lamps and reverse lights are back here. Of course, you do have your Alfa Romeo badge, and of course the Alfa Romeo script here. Just overall, just a beautiful design. I think it still holds up very well even to this day. Alright, now as we walk along the profile of the vehicle, you'll see it is still a very good looking car even to this day. I do have the full dimensions on screen, so you can see the dimensions of this car as it compares to today's vehicles. And it just absolutely looks really, really good. Like, it looks Italian. It doesn't look like it shares the platform with any other car, however it does. But it shares no sheet metal with any of those cars. Steering is power-assisted rack and pinion with 3.2 turns lock-to-lock and a 35.4-foot turning radius, and features a 19.5 to 1 steering ratio. Wheels are 15 by 6 inch cast aluminums, and they are shot in 195/65 R15 Bridgestone Potenza RE960AS pole position all-season tires. Brakes are hydraulic vacuum assist 4-wheel disc brakes with ABS, and they consist of 11.2 inch ventilated rotors up front and 9.9 inch ventilated rotors in the rear. These brakes can halt the 164 from 70 miles per hour to 0 in 185 feet. Alright, now walking around the front, as I do in all my videos, just like I did in the rear, we're going to cover the front in depth, but just take a look at it. It is absolutely iconic Alfa Romeo. You know exactly what you're looking at when you see this car, and those who know it, they know it. And those who don't, I think it just kind of blends in, and people don't really recognize what they're looking at. Alrighty, around the front of the 164, as you can see, it is a very traditional Alfa Romeo. Just an absolutely gorgeous body. It's one of my favorite cars, obviously, as I stated in the intro. But just take a look at how Pininfarina designed this body. Even though it's on that same platform as those previous other cars from the intro, Pininfarina actually designed the entire car, so it does not share any body panels with the rest of those vehicles. I did comment on how clear these headlamps looked, and it's because they're glass. They do have projector beams, and then down below we also have fog lamps. The covers are gone, but those are the windshield washers. And of course you do have Alfa Romeo's tri-lobe grille, front mounting plate or mounting bracket for the license plate. But just overall, just a really clean, just cool Italian look. All right, now before we get inside, let's take a look at the key. And what we have is actually a two-bladed key with the Alfa Romeo logo. And on the other side, it just says Alfa Romeo. And it does have a little light. The Alfa Romeo logo is actually a button. The LED, the battery is probably dead now, but it had a little light on there. But it's just a typical key. But we also have the remote transmitter. It does say Alfa Romeo on it. It's a single button and it locks and unlocks the vehicle. Just a remote transmitter. And of course you can also lock and unlock the vehicle the old school way, just by sticking the key in the keyhole, turning it to the left or right to lock and unlock. Now, as we get inside, first of all, check out those chiseled door handles. They're almost flush with the bodywork, and that does help improve aerodynamic drag. But let's go ahead and open up the door. Alright, and what you see is an absolutely stunning interior. Very beautiful, very high quality and attention to detail of all the materials in here. It is still decidedly very Italian, so it is very quirky. Some of the operations work, some of them don't, but overall, just a very nice, very luxurious automobile for the time. Now, taking a look at the door panels here, as you can see, they're very well done. They have a really nice soft touch vinyl that kind of feels like leather, and there are actually like three pieces to the door. You got this upper portion here, this middle portion, the insert, and of course this lower portion. And you have a nice padded armrest, contrasting tan or the nougat leather on the insets, door pulls here, you have your door release here, power mirror switch here, door speakers of course, ventilation controls for the defroster, and of course we also have a mat pocket. Taking a look at the instrument panel on the driver's side, we do have positional air vents. You can open and close them. You can also swivel them back and forth, or of course up and down. We do have a test light here. Pressing that button activates all the warning lights on the dash to make so you can see that the bulbs work. And then of course you have your instrument panel brightness and dim button here, and then your mile reset. This vehicle does have a tilt and telescoping steering wheel. Only 2 pedals in our car because we have the automatic transmission. We do not have the 5-speed manual. And of course there's our hood release there, dead pedal, nice thick plush Alfa Romeo floor mats. Of course, this car is equipped with power seats, so you have fore and aft, up and down, and seat back fore and aft. And of course, we've also got heated seats as well. You do have the Alfa Romeo logo here in the door sill. And let's go ahead and take a look at the seats. Even though the car is well over 30 years old, the seats I feel have held up very well over time. They are very comfortable, they are very supportive, multi-adjustable as shown before. And of course, the head restraints also rise up and they go down, and of course you can also tilt the head restraints as well. The seats also, it's very hard to see now, but they do have the Alfa Romeo logo embossed in the seat back. Nice thick piping, nice quality leather. It is starting to wear on high areas, but as stated before, the car has a lot of miles and it is old. You do also have this armrest here, and it flips up, and more on that later. And we've also got a sunroof, and that sunroof works. Alrighty, let's go ahead and check out the rest of the interior. Alrighty, now that we're inside, let's take a look at the interior and show all of the details and everything it has to offer in here. It does have a relatively boring, for the rest of the car, 4-spoke steering wheel. It does have a large airbag cover. It does have the Alfa Romeo logo here, but you'll see there's absolutely no controls on here save for the horn. And it's actually a normal horn, doesn't have that weird air horn sound that the other 90s Italian cars had. But as you can see, it is a leather wrapped steering wheel. It is a thick rim steering wheel. And we do have some multifunction controls over here. So just like the Italians would have, we do have our headlamp controls over here. And what's really cool is as you turn it, it'll show what's actually lit, or yeah, what's lit. And of course, we've also got an indicator on the dash showing that your parking lights are on. And over here on the other side of the dash, on the instrument panel, you do have your front and rear fog lamp controls. And those will also light up the requisite lights as well. This control also operates your turn signals and your high beams. Taking a look over on the right hand side, we have our cruise control multifunction stalk and our wiper washer controller here. Taking a look at the instrument cluster, the instrument panel is very comprehensive. It is complete in every gauge that you could have. 8,000 RPM tach, 160 mile per hour speedometer, battery volts, oil pressure. And the oil pressure gauge is actually reading low at idle, but it actually does have oil pressure in the car. And then of course we have our odometer, 109,812 miles, so actually not that high. Coolant temperature, and it is running just a tad on the warm side because it's idling and it is kind of hot outside today. And of course our fuel gauge. All right, moving over the top of the dash, as you can see, it is a very angular dash, very different from other 90s cars, and a little bit on the, well, it could be confusing at the outright when you first look at it, but actually everything kind of falls in place. So taking a look at the dash, as you can see, it's actually in really good shape. There's no cracks, splits, or wear or anything like that, and you do have a nice sized glove box. I keep reaching up for here, but the button's here, and you can lock the glove box. That's your release, and it opens up kind of like a drawer, but as you can see, it's illuminated, very nice and deep. I wish it had the owner's manual, but it doesn't. And then just closes back up. And of course, you have positional air vents over here, and then of course your positional air vents right here. These switches, just like on the driver's side, they open and close the actual register. These are your horizontal movements, and these are your vertical movements here. All right, moving down, we do have a button here for fuel door release. We've also got our four-way flashers and our parking lights. Down below, these are blank switches. Down below, we have our air conditioning controls. So you can actually flip this little switch here from degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. This puts the climate control in economy mode. And there is a very small, it's so hard to read, but a small teeny tiny LCD display that shows your temperature. And these buttons here are your up and down for cooler or hotter. And then the upper row here is your 4-speed fan selector and turn the system off. These rows of buttons here are your panel distribution and your front defroster. These buttons here do nothing. And there's another display here that shows exterior temperature, rear defroster, front and rear fog lamps, trunk release, and recirculate. Moving the shifter out of the way reveals a radio that looks very familiar. It is a Chrysler head unit. I'm not sure if that's like that from the factory or not, but here it is. It does work. It does have a power antenna. I don't know. And then this is our ashtray. 2 ashtrays, 1 cigarette lighter, of course, because it's Italian. And of course we do have the T-handle leather wrap shifter. Nothing really special there. Down here on the center console, we have our window controllers, window lockout, door locks, and our security light. Small little coin holders there, a proper parking brake, the padded armrest that I showed before, and it does lift up to reveal a small amount of storage, but nothing else. I do note the absence of cup holders in this car. Alrighty, so that's the interior of the car, of the front seat. Overall, I think it's a really nice car. I'm really excited to be able to review this car, so everything about it I like. You have a small adjustable mirror here, day-night switch. This overhead console here controls your positional air lighting, your overhead lighting, and then of course these are your sunroof controls here. Folding down the vinyl sun visor reveals a really cool vanity mirror that lights up with the halo light. I think that's a really nice touch. And then of course the sun visor does swing out, but it does not slide out, but it does offer decent coverage. We've also got height adjustable seat belts as well. And getting the sun visor out of the way, we've also got overhead assist handles that are nicely integrated into the A-pillar. Alright, now let's take a look at the rear seat. Opening the door is an easy affair. Nice solid doors, opens up at an almost 90-degree angle for easy entry and exit. And there is the rear seat. Very nice and roomy. Take a look at the door panels. They are built exactly the same way as the front doors. Nice solid construction, nice attention to detail, high quality materials. Got your door pulls here, power window switch, door speakers. You even got the Alfa Romeo script in the rear tread plates. Another nice feature, seat back mat pockets for the backs of both seats. You've also got these little cutouts in the seats as well to give you additional knee room. We've also got nice plush floor mats back here. This little tray does not conceal cup holders. It conceals the ashtray and cigarette lighter for the back seat passengers. Speaking of the back seat, let's go ahead and take a look at it now. Now the rear seat in this car does seat 3 across. It is a fixed in place seat. It does not fold. It does have integrated head restraints, as you can see in this view here. And just to show you, you have entry lights here, and this button here opens up or turns on your positional reading light. We've also got overhead assist handles back here as well. The seat backs also have that Alfa Romeo script in it, and as you can see, the seats are nicely sculpted. They almost look like buckets back here. You've also got a fold down center armrest, but no cup holders, no storage or anything like that. I do believe this opens up and it does reveal a ski pass-through. One other cool thing, this car has 2 sunshades. Let me grab the other one here and to give you an idea of what I'm doing. All right, so the sunshade is here. It's a manual release, and it just clips into the window header here, just like that. So you have 2 sunshades back here. You've also got a little trinket tray here. Pretty nice. So yeah, that is the back seat of the Alfa Romeo 164. Actually quite impressed. Alright, let's take a look at the trunk now. Now there is only one way to open the trunk lid back here. And first thing you have to do is move the Alfa Romeo badge out of the way. Just grip right around here and then move to the left or the right. And then it reveals the keyhole. Stick the key in the hole and turn the key to the right. And it opens up our counterbalance lid. It does offer a pretty low lift-over height. It is illuminated trunk, fully lined and carpeted. And as you can see, it is actually pretty large for a trunk or a car of this size. These are the counterbalance springs here. Does make opening and closing the trunk a lot easier. Small little dog leg hinges here, but they don't really do impede much. As you can see, it's a pretty decent load compartment. You have a vinyl embossed Alfa Romeo logo here. Inside this little curious cover is the JVC 10-disc CD changer. And of course your battery is actually mounted back here as well. Underneath this floor mat is actually your compact spare tire with jack and tools. Probably wouldn't trust that spare tire. Alright, and to close the trunk, just close it like normal, and then put your logo back down. Alright, and there you have it, the 1991 Alfa Romeo 164. We hope you found the review informative, and if you did, please comment down below. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/neighborhoodcarreviews and our Instagram channel at BrentsOJ1. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.